First topic, Iceborne, right?
I think we should kick over to Eric for that.
Eric's, yes.
Oh,
What do we know about what's coming in this DLC? What is
Oof.
it going to be?
it is gonna be spicy. It's gonna be really good. So from what we have from the trailer so far, it is the extension or the expansion to the base game. So you have to have played the base game, you have to have completed the base game, and it is going to, well, to quote the social media manager, they said that it will have content that will rival that of the base game. So
Yeah.
what
Wow.
you're basically looking at is this isn't just like a small DLC expansion. This is basically like a game on top.
Right, it's
And-
like a whole new game on top
Exactly
of the
right.
game.
Yeah. And if you played like Monster Hunter before and you played previous games where they've had G rank expansions, like that's kind of to be expected. Like they often have, it brings with it a whole new rank, it brings with it a whole new monsters, new gear, new weapons, loads of changes. And what we saw in the trailer, there's a lot of stuff.
Is that like G rank, essentially?
So yeah, in previous games they called it G rank. In Iceborne they're calling it Master rank. And I think the reason they're just doing that is because obviously it's just more like to the watch, because obviously World brought so many new people in, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
Myself, I was one of those people.
Oh, really? Yeah, exactly right. So that and that to that point, like a lot of people, G rank doesn't really mean anything. It's, I mean, even as like a person that's been playing for like 8 years, I'm just like, what does G rank actually mean? Like great rank, good rank.
Gangster.
So Master rank.
Gangster rank, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. But yeah, so Master rank just makes sense. So, but that is like, it's like the ultimate tier of difficulty. So it's above high rank. So it's going to be tough. This is where you're going to get slapped around. But then there's a whole new region. So there's the snowy region now. So, and this one sounds quite interesting because it's going to be the biggest region they've made up until this point. And unlike all the previous maps, this one reveals itself as you play through the campaign, apparently.
Yeah, cool. I saw that there was like fog of war kind of going on.
Yeah. I'm super interested to see how it actually play out in like a sort of a gameplay system in Monster Hunter, because you're very used to typically having access to the whole map. So it'll be really interesting to sort of see how that pans out. But the super exciting thing is, from what we saw, like there's actually like new moves and stuff, because obviously up until this point you always get used to like playing with the weapons in certain ways, right? But now we're seeing they've got like a claw that you can grapple onto monsters, and then when you're doing that you can do crazy moves. So there's a lot of
that
cool
is
stuff.
cool. Are they expanding the weapons? Are they adding new weapons, or are they changing certain weapons to have more skill sets with them? Like, is that part of the new moves that you're talking about?
So I don't believe they're adding new weapons. I mean, like it's one of those ones where they haven't spoken about stuff yet. But normally, like from kind of Monster Hunter history, if they add like a new one, it's normally comes with like a new numbered iteration.
Oh, okay.
But they do, from the way that they phrase it on the website, they does something, they're adding more like moves and like combo options for existing weapons. So it now means that if you've kind of got a favorite weapon and you've got used to playing a certain kind of way, you'll be able to learn new stuff in the new one. We haven't seen a great deal of it, but they showed 3 examples in the trailer. So the greatsword has, because one of the other things you can do, you know how in World you had the slinger on your arm, so you can fire off you fire off different things, and a lot of the time you'd have to put your weapon away. Whereas they've now made it so that in Iceborne, any of the weapons can use it with the weapon is still drawn. So you can then mid combo, like the greatsword can be charging a big hit. You can then fire off like a flash bomb to like interrupt something, and then you can still go into the charge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's
going to
really
change
cool.
a lot of the way you play.
Exactly right. I mean, like, because Slinger was kind of Slinger became like really important in World anyway, but I feel like it's going to become even more important in Iceborne.
Yeah, for sure.
And then got. Oh, go on.
Is this coming out for all platforms at the same time? Has the PC caught up?
Yeah, not quite. That's unfortunately not. So
big bummer.
PS4 and Xbox One is day one, which is
September 6th, right?
When did they say was it? So that's it. Yeah, that's the
6th,
one.
Right? I'm pretty sure.
But they did say PC is going to be winter. So I think last time it was about 6 months from launch, because what was it? It came out in February, March, and then I don't think PC got it till August, September. But I think I said it seems like they're aiming for like winter this time around. So I think they're still trying to push for like the same year. I mean, it still is a massive bummer, because I mean, like PC players, there's like no real reason why it shouldn't be available at the same time. But I guess I just hope the wait isn't as long for PC players.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. I was really hoping that they were going to sync up the PC portion to then play on PC. But at this point, I'm definitely just going to stick with PS4 for Iceborne.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's where like all my progress is. I mean, even when the PC one came out, it's great on PC, but I guess I've never really been like a graphics guy per se. Like, I appreciate good graphics, but I'm just like, you know what? I've sunk 1,200 hours in on PS4. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially
for
with
a game that's so
damn attack gems.
Dude.
Attack gems. I still have not had one. I've never had one to drop.
I feel like I only had one drop, the basic one.
For a game that's so timing based though, and like you're constantly looking at animations and like trying to time your attacks based on the animation of the monster you're fighting. Like having that increased frame rate is so valuable.
That's true.
I'd love for that to be like day and date with the console releases, so that at least you had an option. Because right now, like there's no reason to switch over.
Yeah, I mean the Xbox One X had like the best frame rate out of all of them, but it would still dip.
Yeah.
It'd be like
But it was at 30, right?
No, it was. You could uncap it. You can uncap the PS4 Pro as well, but it would have a tough time maintaining above 40 frames per second with the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be the same with Iceborne. Either way, it's like I've made my peace with it as well. Like I want the frames, PC, the Church of Unlimited Frames, all that stuff. But when it comes to progress, like isn't it 10 to 15 hours or something like that to go through the main campaign? Right.
Something like just kind of base campaign.
Yeah, if you just
and I mean
if you sprint through it, like it ends up still being there's a lot of cutscenes. So redoing all that content on another platform is pretty tough. So PS4,
it is tough.
Yeah, I'll be sticking with PS4.
But Iceborne looks so good. They've kind of teased some of the monsters, and some people were saying that, oh, this looks really small. There's only a few monsters in it, and like, no, guys. No.
Yeah, how many are they adding? Any idea?
I mean, I don't. So they haven't said anything yet on that yet. But if they said it rivals the base game had 30. So I mean,
30 new monsters.
That would be pretty awesome.
Wow, that's a lot.
That would be crazy. Yeah, I mean, and if you look at like previous ones, I wish I could have pulled it up, but like one of my friends like tweeted out the other day like all the numbers from like the base Monster Hunter games to like G rank. But basically, the kind of top line of that was the G rank one. A lot of the time, almost doubled the monster count. In various different iterations we've had in the past. So I think it's safe to say that we're going to get like and the fact that we've seen a returning monster as well. So seeing Nagakuga come back, so like that. Obviously, if World was your first one, it'll still be like new to you, but that came from like the PSP one back in the day, and that is a really really cool monster.
Very cool.
To see that come back, it kind of almost sort of hints that they're targeting some fan favorites, and at the very end of the trailer, there was also a roar from like my favorite monster, which was Tigrex, who is like this kind of. It almost like looks similar skeletal wise to Nagakuga, but it's like a dinosaur kind of monster. Really, really cool. So it almost kind of sounds like they're kind of doing that thing where they're gonna bring back some like fan favorites, but obviously introduce some new ones. So I do hope they strike the balance, because it's an interesting thing. And I guess kind of applies to sort of different like other games as well. But anytime people have played previous ones in the series and they always want to, and then like a new one comes out, they're like, oh, I hope they bring this thing over. It's like I definitely do hope they bring like some stuff from before over, but I do still want it to be like a new game. I do still want like the majority of the content to be new. But that's going to be cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm very excited about it. I had no idea it was going to be this chunky. I've only seen.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit on Twitter from stuff, and I'm like, this is great. This is going to be awesome to play. I can't wait. And now finding out it's nearly like another Monster Hunter world being added to it. Like that's incredible. Is it more than one zone?
Yeah. So I don't know about that at the moment. So all they've said right now is they've just shown like the icy area. So that much is still up in the air.
Okay.
But they seem to be putting like a big focus on like the size of it. So we have to sort of like wait and see on that one. But the interesting thing is like what I really want to know about like what they're doing with this one is because every single Monster Hunter game where they've added like some kind of G rank expansion, invariably once you get through the G rank campaign, there's some kind of like end game for Monster Hunter. Obviously, it's different to kind of conventional end game that we know from like other types of games like that. But there's often been like different things you can do. So like in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, they had guild quests where you could like level them up and you go into these kind of like randomly generated areas. In Generations Ultimate, you had like the Deviant quests. So obviously you kind of like level up those quests and you fight these like super tough monsters.
Are those like factions?
I'm wondering. No, they were more sort of like they were more so in Generation Ultimate they were very specific monsters. They were like kind of hyper aggressive versions of monsters that you were familiar with. They had their own unique behavior, but then by playing through them, you then basically if you did like the level 1 version, you could do the level 2 version, and it got all the way up to they were called like super deviants, and they were just like stupidly difficult.
Wow.
But then when you defeat them, you then unlock the ability to then transmog their gear. So it's like there's kind of like an element to it.
That's cool.
So
yeah, that is cool because there's a lot of armor that I really like that as someone who uses a bow is useless for me because it's got like sharpen on it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's true.
I would love that.
So I'm trying to schedule ahead a little bit, and I'm thinking about September.
Yeah, it's gonna be packed.
It's gonna be busy.
You basically have about a week until Borderlands comes out after Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, so the 6th of September and then the 13th of September, and we don't know about Destiny potentially having some sort of release in there, and it's going to be a packed September.
September's going to be. I'm just expecting to just sit here. I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to sleep here. I'm going to wake up, turn on stream. Let's go again, guys. It's what I'm expecting.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I'm thinking, is it even like, I wonder how far you can get in 1 week of Iceborne realistically before Borderlands 3 hits.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Like if you grind hard.
I think if you play a fair bit, because I mean, if you play as like a squad, for example, and you play like a fair bit, even if like you're not like heavily over geared, you can probably get through. I'd say like you can get through kind of like main Golden Lion campaign in probably a couple of days. Like, I mean, assuming the difficulty curve in like G rank will be that much higher. It always has been in previous games, but the general flow has always been largely the same. You have like a set number of quests you do, and then it works your way through. So I feel like that progression part will probably be, if you're playing a lot of it, you could probably still do it with a team in a couple of days. But the question, of course, will be, what happens beyond that point, and obviously all the wider gear farming and all the stuff like that. So that'll be the stuff that will probably start taking you the longer time. So
yeah, for sure. I'm excited about it.
For me, it's going to be a balance of trying to find a way to play all of them and not drop any of the games. Because I'm definitely someone where when I drop a game, it's hard for me to get back into it again.
Oh, yeah. I'm the same
I'm like,
way.
what was I doing? And so I'm like with Monster Hunter World, I go back and I'm like, what was I trying to do? What was I looking for? I don't remember. Okay. So
I finish all games I play, guys.
I know, tough. Yeah. Same. Also has. But yeah, I want to make sure with this September that I don't just drop anything. I want to keep them going because these are all games that I'm really excited about. Monster Hunter World was amazing, and
I loved it.
Iceborne looks like it's going to be amazing. Borderlands obviously amazing. So I don't want to drop any of them.
I think I did the one kind of thing that works quite well about those ones is that like they're not, at least with those ones. I mean, like, they're not games as a service, so to a degree, at least with something like Monster Hunter, you can't, technically speaking, fall behind.
Right.
I mean, okay, they might have like an event quest that will come around, and you might be like, oh damn, I missed that, but it'll always come back in rotation. So at least you can, to a degree, play a game like that and be like, all right, you know what, I'm not going to fall behind. Whereas if you play something like Division or Destiny or like Anthem or anything like that, you're like, oh, you know what, I haven't been keeping up, and there's a new expansion, and suddenly I'm like 200 gear score below. So yeah. So I do feel like they almost can coexist. I mean, Borderlands is another one that we don't really know what the kind of the end games be like for that. But I mean, at least we know from previous Borderlands games, it is kind of a game you can, to a degree, complete. Yeah. Right. So
yeah, it's similar in the Monster Hunter World sense, where like if there's not necessarily an event that's going on that's going to prevent you from getting stuff later on. Like you can take your time with the Borderlands universe. As far as we know, we don't know if Borderlands 3 is going to change stuff for the end game.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting to see. For me, I want to find out what weapon you guys are going to use first.
Bow.
But is it only bow? What?
I really started enjoying Sword and Shield actually when I was
Shield so good.
It's just so fun. Although I started just only flipping up in the air trying to mount everything. That was just my goal. I just want to mount everything with Sword and Shield. When someone mounted it, I got mad because that's my job.
Also,
but yeah, I started really enjoying Sword and Shield. But bow is, especially in World, you can play this build that's a lot more agile. Because I think before in other Monster Hunter games, you had to really sit there and like hold the shot to really take advantage of the bow. But for me, with the like elemental build for bow, where you can just dance all over the place and just put down massive damage, it's been really fun. So I think definitely bow first, but Sword and Shield I started to really enjoy. There's so many builds with Sword and Shield. You can play like support, or you can do paralyzed builds, or it's really fun.
Yeah,
I'll probably do the same thing I did for World, which is go to Eric's YouTube channel and watch him break down each of the weapons for about 20 minutes each, and then choose based on his advice.
There you go.
I'm going to have to make a whole 14 new tutorials. If they've added in new combos, suddenly all of that's wrong now.
That's
I'm
true.
okay with that.
I love it. I can't wait.
I'm glad you're okay with that. I'm not okay with that. But yeah. Oh dear.
I'm someone who enjoyed like pretty much all the arsenal. Maybe not the heavy gunner. I wasn't really into that, but like there was pretty much I enjoyed the majority. But longsword, switch axe, and great sword. Those are like the trifecta.
Did you see the crazy longsword thing they did in the trailer? So like he grappled onto the monster and then he like jumped up in the air and like stabbed down with a longsword. So like because you can grapple onto
like a skull stab type of thing.
Yeah, he was sort of like he grappled onto like the side of it and then he brought the sword around and then just like stabbed down and then kind of pulled something out of it, which was like
that's incredible.
So
there's going to be crazy combos with the grappling hook for all weapons too. It's not just going to be a few where you're like, oh, I wish I could do something cool like that. All of them are going to have something really cool.
That is awesome.
One of the other ones they showed was it during the trailer that like the dual blades can apparently, according to the trailer, like use the claw mid combo, so you can be doing like fast combos, claw and grab up onto the monster, continue your combo, and then it's like what?
It's gonna be so good for that too, to do the continuous spin down the monster.
That is going to be, and the only other one thing they showed in the trailer, because that's like as far as they went for showing new stuff, but for the light bow gun, which I'm actually super excited about because I'm not normally a gunner in these kind of games. And light bow gun kind of got a bit shafted in like World because it didn't necessarily have all the strongest bullets and things like that. But there's a mod. There's now a new custom mod where you can reload by sliding. And you know the light bow gun's got that slide.
Yeah.
So you can now literally sit there and like, bam, 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 slide. Bam. So you could basically stack the mods and just shoot indefinitely a slide. So it could actually be really cool.
That sounds awesome. Yeah,
that sounds good.
That does sound really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think my prep for going into Iceborne is making my armor fluffy, ready for the snow. That's gonna be my prep. Making the right build that I want for my bow, but being fluffy and warm.
The fluffy armor is great.
It is great.
It's gotta be done.
Do you think they're gonna add new gems?
That's a good question.
Yeah, to change up the builds.
They have to.
Yeah.
I hope so. I really hope so. That would be really cool. Because that's one thing I do want them to change. Because the one thing that World introduced, like although the build, the way you can construct builds is more accessible, I feel like you get to the point where it's easier to have fewer builds in World. Like there's kind of cookie cutter builds and you don't do as much. Whereas in previous Monster Hunter games, the way that the gemming system worked was different. So then it kind of gave you like a larger diversity. So
interesting.
I'd like to see more. Hopefully it kind of comes with like, with like new, because a lot of the armor sets they introduced in World had like set bonuses, which was obviously like a new thing as well. And they kind of started to introduce them more towards like the higher tier stuff. And given that Master Rank is all higher tier, I'd like to think that maybe like everything could come with set bonuses. So hopefully that'd be really cool.
Seems like it's going to expand the potential for builds just dramatically, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, that's exciting. I can't wait.
And also visually as well, because if again, I mean, like this, assuming that it works the same way that it has in the past, but like if ever you fight like a G rank version of a monster you've already fought, they have a different armor set. So like if in the past, if you got like a favorite armor set and then you go to G rank, the armor set is invariably cooler. And I think we've kind of got like a hint of that because in the official promo art for it, the female wearing the Anjanath armor, it's different Anjanath armor. So
cool.
I'm kind of excited to see like, then you go back and fight the things that you knew before and you're like, whoa, hold on a minute, you've got some really cool armor now. So.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's so exciting.
One more question before we move on to another thing. Do you have any recommendations for people to do to prep for Iceborne? Any things that would probably be big ticket items to make sure you get?
I mean, the thing is, you could kind of just like, I'd say, if anything, just make sure that whatever armor set you have is upgraded as high as you can. Like, I would say, you could go around and try and get like a slightly more min-max armor set. But honestly, there's no point because the first thing you do in any G rank expansion is you throw away your armor because you fight whatever is the weakest monster and the easiest monster to farm in G rank, and you farm it for an armor set just because you need the sheer defense.
Yeah.
So it's almost like assuming that fully augmented gear is still going to be less than basic G rank gear. So really, I'd just say get a set you're get happy with, and just make sure the defense is stacked. Maybe throw on some health boost, and then at least when you go into master rank, just like find the thing you can kill easiest, kill it, farm it, and then you're good to go.
Nice.
Also, if you haven't tried Monster Hunter World and you want to, there's a free trial going on until May 20th for anyone on PS4. so you can get in right now and try it out. I think I want to try and hit up some of it this week.
Nice.
And maybe if anyone's hopping in for the first time, we can kind of team up and play some Monster Hunter World. It's really good. Highly recommend it.
That was always one of the really cool things I liked, how you can share the code for people to join your lobby.
Oh, it's so good for when you're streaming, because you have a command in chat. People can just bring it up, they see the code, and then they join the lobby. And then even if they're not playing with you, they have a whole lobby of people that are in chat that want to farm monsters. So it's really great.
Yeah, I really like that system.
I love it.
Yeah, cool.